Thanks for listening to the Nazarene Nerd podcast. I'm Dave, the Nazarene Nerd, and today I have with me Peter Riopelle.
Hey man,
It's good to have you with me.
good to be here.
Uh, Peter is, if you don't know, we have been doing the 1776 production in our small town of Orbezonia here, and Peter plays our John Adams.
Yes,
It's
love it.
fantastic. We got three more shows, so hopefully I can get this out before the next three shows, and
Yeah, let's hope
you
so.
can come watch it. I don't have that big of a fan base, but it's fun to do. But I'm glad to have you. It's always great to have interesting people, and I would probably beg to say that you're the most famous person
Oh
on
well,
here. I mean, you have most experience in acting that I've had with anybody. The last person I had was a medieval college history professor from Ed State.
oh
So
that's cool.
yeah, as you can see,
Yeah,
I love medieval and
got the corner on the market here, right? Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
So when did you start kind of wanting to get into acting and whatnot?
Well, I grew up with a very kind of eccentric theatrical family. Father, really, he was a deacon in the Catholic Church, and he, when he would do sermons and stuff, he'd always have props, and and we were kids, and he would always put us in the church plays and
How many
sometimes
times were you Joseph or
I
Jesus? I
I
mean,
was never I was John the Baptist. My brother was Jesus. I was Saint Peter at one point,
yeah.
right? So yeah, and sometimes it was just the blind. I was Jesus once. Now I cured the blind man. So
There you go.
yeah, yeah.
I've seen
So
so many horror stories of people playing Jesus. Whether they somehow get them up on a cross and then they either fall off, or I've
oh
had one where the pastor had it in a sermon, and it was like a 2 hour sermon, and after the play they forgot to get the kid down,
oh my
so he sat up there for
goodness.
about 2 hours.
Oh my goodness
Yeah, so
gracious. Oh my gosh.
um,
I remember seeing a production of Angels in America in Boston. I don't know if you've ever seen the show, but they fly an angel in, and then she got stuck at the
oh
at
no.
the end. She just comes in at the end. She got stuck, and they tried to bring her up, and she was just like doing that. So
Yeah, I've seen too many the new pastors and whatnot with the mega churches, and I think I just saw one recently where he gets lifted up and starts doing backflips in the air and whatnot, and I'm
oh my
like,
goodness.
okay then, all right.
Hey man.
You come to here and you got someone who's hellfire and brimstone and just screaming at people, and to a small congregation. Then you get people who are watching a show every
Yeah.
Sunday, I
Yeah,
guess. To each
basically.
their own, but
Yeah, right, right.
what uh, what was your besides your church stuff? What was your
Yeah.
first, I guess, real
Yeah,
acting gig? I
I
guess.
mean, I guess I got the bug as a kid, but like it wasn't really till college that I decided that I was going to do it professionally. I sort of went into college as a poli sci, like a double major, poli sci and musical theater, and just I just like doing the theater more. And so I went right on to graduate school afterwards because I wasn't ready to move to a big city or anything after that. And then after grad school, I was ready. So I went to New York City right out of graduate school, got an agent right out of our showcase, and started working right away. So
Did you start doing after college? Because I'm assuming
yeah,
you would do a good bit of stage stuff in college. That's more what they unless you go to
right.
one of these big fine arts schools,
Hmm.
it's more theater stuff than it is like acting. Did
Yes.
you go straight into theater after college, or did you try to find more like TV or movie stuff?
Yeah, no, I was always a stage guy. Like I did I moved to Los Angeles, gosh, in 2001, I think. So probably before you were even born.
No, I was born in '95.
Okay.
Hey, that's a compliment because in this we're doing Matt. I'm supposed to play an 18-year-old,
Uh-huh.
but I'm 31, so I'm like,
Right.
Matt, I'm. It's a compliment. You think I can still pull off 18?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely. Yeah, so I lived in Los Angeles for a year. It wasn't for me, TV and film. It's a different medium. They say that TV is the writer's medium, and film is the director's medium,
Hmm.
and stage is the actor's medium, because you're taking the journey, it's alive. It's just a very different set of skills. It really is, because and I didn't realize that till I moved out there and realized, like it's literally like, you hit your mark on this line, and then you turn your head to that camera on this line, you turn your
Oh
head to
wow.
that camera on the so it's like it's so technical that it's hard to take an acting journey unless you're like a lead, that's a lead in a series that can take a journey over the course of the.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You
Mhm.
did lead in a TV show.
I did a supporting part in General Hospital, just two
Okay.
episodes, and then I did uh, I did The West Wing a little bit, couple of episodes there and everything. But that was part of the part of when I realized that I just missed taking the journey. Like
Hmm.
we take a journey every night, and it's a little bit different every night.
Very much.
And the and they always say the audience is the last actor on stage, and
Hmm.
it's a different actor every night. So you're kind of
It's weird to see who get like certain scenes will get a laugh one night where it's real serious the next night,
right.
and I mean I just noticed that from yesterday today. Um, Hopkins's line with his little index cards. We got a good laugh the first night, but
Yep.
it's just nobody this second night and third night. Just people
Yeah,
weren't having it. I
yeah,
guess.
it's so interesting, but that's what makes it, the magic of live theater, Even like even the things that upset me, like the first night, I almost tripped going up the stairs on the first speech, and then the second night my handkerchief fell out of my vest, on the first speech, and at first I'm like, ah, but then I'm like, that is what live theater
Hmm.
is,
Just gotta
like,
roll with it.
yeah, you just gotta live in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
So,
noticed whenever I did four plays when I was in high school. They were junior senior, but I was a freshman when we started, and I think I had just got done with football practice,
hmm.
and my brother was going to try out, and it was me and one of his classmates were just quoting Monty Python back and forth. And the play director's like, "Can you act?" I'm like, "I don't know." And she goes, "Well, I need." It's like I need some more people in this. Like, I'm only a freshman. She goes, "I don't care." And then I ended up getting there was two lead roles,
Yeah.
a boy and a girl. We did I think it was the Silver Lady.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
No.
It's basically the aunt. They move into a lighthouse. The aunt gets possessed by a ghost who
Mm.
was murdered by. It turns out to be the town sheriff. And me and this other girl were kind of going back and forth trying to solve the mystery. So I got the
Oh.
lead role, and just kind
As a
of
freshman.
as a freshman.
Well done.
And then I ended up getting lead roles throughout the next couple years. In my senior year, we did Beauty and the Beast, not
Oh.
the musical version, because obviously I told Matt when we're doing this, no singing parts for me. I
Uh-huh.
cannot sing. I
Nice.
think it's funny Patrick being off stage singing the harmony for Mama Look Sharp, and Nin thought I was the one singing. I'm like, no, not a chance.
Oh, well.
But I'm like, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
And so after I graduated, there was a Christian acting agency holding auditions in Baltimore. And so my best friend and I went, and he didn't care anything about it, but he's just along for the ride. I'm like, just come on, support me. We're just gonna go for the harbor for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there and nothing prepared. I'm just like, we're just gonna go. And I read some commercial script, and I'm like, yeah, that was good enough. Other people there, I'd say better than me. I get a call back, and they're like, hey, we're interested if you want to come down. Like, we could work with you. And that was one of those, you pay a couple $1,000s, we'll send you to Florida
Oh,
and do
right.
all those and get you an agent. I'm like, if I was in high school and that's what I wanted to do, because they're like, oh, we'll help you fundraise and whatnot. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
if you're in high school, I think it's a good idea to help out. But I'm like, I think at the time, 19 years old. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little late for me.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it just depends on what you wanted. I mean, Joe Pesci didn't make it
Hmm.
till he was 40, 40-ish or whatever. I don't know if you know, or Danny Aiello.
I've heard the name, yeah.
There's plenty of actors that didn't really
Yeah,
get their
I felt like
break.
I was okay enough. Like I'm like, hey, they
Yeah.
called me back and said I was good enough. And
Yeah.
and like you said, there's definitely a difference between stage acting and film. Like I like filming things. I'm not good with scripts when it comes to filming.
Yeah.
It just feels too scripted. And this format here, it's just a candid conversation. I talk way too
Yeah.
much. I got
No.
in trouble in high school for it. I'm like, why not just videotape it talking to people?
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, I'm good enough. Matt wanted me to do this. Obviously trying to get some people in the local area, and my
Yeah.
dad said, what about me? And I get over there and I audition. I'm like, I have very limited range. This voice here is what you get. I don't have projection. I can't do accents, whatever.
Right.
So if the character needs this, I'm good for it. But then I hear you guys, all your singing, whether
Right.
it's you or Mike Bliss or even my dad, Matt. I'm like, I wouldn't have picked me.
Oh.
You guys are all so much better than me.
Oh man.
I'm just your Joe Schmo kind of. It worked out, being the leather apron. I do
Yeah.
more of like a stagehand on stage guy, so
Yeah.
supporting whatnot. It's kind of nice that I get to sit back and watch everybody during the show, so I see all the things of.
It's that kind of show. Like
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of the stuff happens in the silence, in the looks in between,
I noticed it in because when we first started doing it and they cast Dave Wessels as McNair, I'm like, I know Matt knows him well, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a not so much an odd choice, but like it's very strange knowing what song's about to happen.
Right.
And then so when Rutledge starts singing, and I look over at Wessels, and mind you, Wessels is a black man, and the song's about slavery. Wessels just has a like scowl on his
Mm.
face, and I'm like, that is so good.
Oh
It
yeah.
just fits so well because I mean, you never think that they might have had a slave or two in the Congress, held whatever. I don't think it was historical, but like it's time setting, it's time fitting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Wessels just had that scowl. I'm like, it fits so well.
Well, remember though, in Philadelphia, they would have been free.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania was a free state, so
Oh yeah, yeah.
would have been the northern state. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
still kind of fits with
yeah,
the time period,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess. But
Hmm.
like I'm just like it fits so well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's good. Everybody's good, man. I mean, it's a really well cast. Matt did a great job with the casting, and it's just such a beautiful show. It's just such a great script. Using a lot of the words that from the actual men, a
Hmm.
lot of it's based on their own letters, and all the stuff between John and Abigail, that's actually from their letters and stuff. Is anybody there? Is, a lot of that, the text of that is from a letter that John Adams wrote to Abigail about, once they had passed the Declaration. He wrote her about, he thought it would be the 2nd of July because that was the day that they actually decided that it was going to happen, and then it wasn't publicly, and they worked out some of the kinks on the 3rd and the 4th, and signed on the 4th, and it actually took a lot longer for them.
I think Mark was saying like it took until December, about December-ish,
Yeah.
and McKean was one of the last people to sign the
Right.
Declaration, being he was part of the war anyway.
Right.
So
Right. So but yeah, I mean, like all that icy fireworks and pomp and you know parade and all that stuff, like that's in his letters. I mean, so much of it is based on, Franklin's got 3 or 4 of his actual sayings in there. It's just so well written. And it's just like they take this script that everybody knows the end to or should know the
hmm
end to, and
you're
somehow
still
they
like,
just craft it right. Like, how does this thing ever get done?
and like Matt said, like it's just deliver the lines because you get the laughs because of just these people were just kind of funny in general, and
Yeah,
you kind of
that's
had
right.
to be to make the time pass better.
Sure, sure.
What would be your favorite gig that you've ever done? Because I'm sure how many
Oh,
shows have you done?
oh my gosh. I mean, I've been doing it professionally for 30 years, so almost 30 years. So, I mean, it's like apples and oranges but I mean, like, I Matt and I have done some of my favorite shows together. We met at the Dutch Apple Theater in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That's where we met working. And Guys and Dolls was our first show together. It was both of our first show at Dutch Apple, and I played Nathan. He played Benny South Street, and that was one of my favorite shows and casts ever. And we did it because that theater owns several theaters, so we did it in several other places like Florida, and with slightly different casts. Some of the same people, but some replacements. But that first cast was just really a fine cast. And then we did another show together called Me and My Girl, which was an exceptional show. Um, I chased Hamlet for 15 years and finally got to play Hamlet, back a ways now. Done Adams. This is my sixth time doing
Wow.
Adams, so it's one of my favorite parts to play. There's just those handful that they call them your bread and butter roles. Like you just get cast over and over in them, and this is one that I never get tired of doing this show. But Hamlet was great. Nathan Detroit is one of my favorites, and um, I mean, I could go. I played Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors, years ago, and that was great fun. So, yeah, I mean, it just depends. I remember seeing an interview with Richard Dreyfuss one time, and he was saying, they asked him, do you like comedy or drama more? Do you like, and I always, and I remember him saying, you know, whatever I'm doing now, I like now. But
Hmm.
then the next thing I want to do is whatever is different. So if
Hmm.
I'm doing a comedy now, I'm totally invested in the comedy. But then I want to probably do a drama next or a musical next or whatever it is.
It's like
Right.
I asked before I started doing this podcast. I was working with a comic book store in Altoona, and we went to a convention. I got to talk to Rob Paulson,
Mm-hmm.
who does Pinky and the Brain and
Mm-hmm.
the Animaniacs, whatever. And I asked
Oh
him like,
yeah.
what's your favorite role? And he goes, whichever one's paying me at the moment.
Yeah.
I
Right.
was
Right.
asked like, was there one you wish you didn't do or whatever? He's like, I can't answer that.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
disparage who you worked for. You don't want to burn bridges, but
Right.
is there any shows that you wish you would have done or would have gotten?
I missed playing Romeo,
Oh,
in Romeo and Juliet. Like I'm a Shakespeare lover too, so I think I'm a little long in the tooth to ever play Romeo again. There's a handful of things that I missed. I'd still like to play John Proctor in The Crucible. Um, but no, I mean, like I've been lucky enough to play most of at least my dream roles. I mean, Barnum is one that I'd still like to do. There's a show called Barnum, which is an excellent show, and Matt and I were supposed to do that as well many years ago, and the plug got pulled on
mhm.
it. And I was so mad too because I passed up a bunch of these other roles, and I had already started rehearsals. They had hired the trainer from the Barnum and Bailey Circus to teach me the tightrope because Barnum
Oh
has to
wow.
walk the tightrope on it. And I went down and had a couple lessons. And this was in Naples, Florida, years ago. And Matt was supposed to play this character that he's the ringmaster, and then he becomes Bailey from Barnum and Bailey Circus, um, and I had passed up like four other jobs, and then we were in rehearsals, and then they had a hiatus, and they called me like 2 days before I was supposed to fly back down, and they said, "Oh yeah, we pulled the plug. They
Mhm.
they lost some of the funding or whatever." So I'm still chasing that part, but yeah.
Have you done? I would assume part of this is any actual like Broadway stuff.
I did the Broadway tour of The Drowsy Chaperone, which is uh, it was up for Best Musical that year, and we were supposed to go to Broadway, and then what happened was the financial crisis.
Oh,
So we were the first national tour of it, and the guys playing it on Broadway were going to leave, and so a good handful of those of us in the tour were supposed to go to Broadway.
mm,
And, the financial crisis hit and the show closed because it just didn't have enough of a name. They were going to do what they call stunt casting, which is like bring some stars in to try and,
mm.
get the ticket sales back up. So Liza Minnelli was supposed to
Oh
come in and
wow.
play the chaperone, and I remember talking to the producers, and they were saying we'd still be running if we had just named the show something different. They were going to name it My Favorite Musical, and the the writers de- just demanded that they kept it the drowsy chaperone, and nobody knew what that meant, but they said, if we just called it My Favorite Musical, then, people would have come to New York, seen it, and gone back to, and said, oh, I just saw this great show. What was it called? My Favorite Musical. Well, what's your favorite
Hmm.
musical? It's, um, so that was kind of, and I had gotten cast. This was another heartbreak. So they were doing the off Broadway revival of Snoopy the musical. So,
Hmm.
You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Hmm.
After the success of that show, they they wrote a second show called Snoopy, and it had a short off Broadway run, and they were bringing that back. And the guy who had wrote the music was a guy named Larry Grossman, and he was music directing this one. And I went through like 6 months of, you know, auditions and callbacks and everything. And I was cast as Snoopy.
Oh wow.
And
Was it all barking, or did you actually sing?
no, no, it was a singing show. This was back in, gosh, 2010 or 11. And
You make that sound like it was so far away.
well,
Gosh.
it seems like a
Yeah.
lifetime ago,
Yeah, it really
but
does.
yeah. And what happened? Another financial crisis. That was when uh, there was a show called The Toxic Avenger, and
Yes,
do you
I
remember The
yeah, it
Toxic
was with Peter
Avenger?
Dinklage, and it was some sort of like DC, like musical or TV show.
Musical.
Oh,
This
okay,
was
I'm
a
thinking something
musical.
completely different.
Okay, it was probably the same story. Anyway, there was a group of theaters called New World Stages in New York, which was off Broadway, and so we were booked as Snoopy was booked in there, but we only had like an eight. They were going to do an 8 week tryout to see if it would go. To see, I mean, that happens a lot.
Mm.
Just a limited run to see if ticket, like Titanic is another show right now that had a limited run, and then it was selling a lot, like on Broadway right now, and so they extended it another 6 months, right?
Oh
So
wow.
this is what we were supposed to do, and there were no theaters that were available for other shows, and so the producers of this show, I don't know if this is interesting at all to
No,
whatever, but
no, keep going. Yeah.
um, they um, they came in and they guaranteed that they would do a 6 month, that the producers would
Mm.
pay for if they it's basically sell the theater out from under us. So we lost the theater altogether, and then they were going to do an out of town tryout or run out in Seattle, and then everything just kind of fell apart. But that was kind of my last really, big. And then my dad had some health challenges, and I made the decision to go back and, go back to Michigan, where I'm from, to kind of help care for my dad. And everything kind of changed from there. So,
So I'm assuming you're just kind of laying low and doing smaller stuff at the moment.
yeah, I mean, like, it's, I, I lost my dad like 3 years
Oh,
ago.
I'm
So,
sorry.
yeah, thank you. But then my mom started having some challenges
Mm.
too. So, like, there was like a period where I was going to get back out there. In the interim, I was approached by a theater in Michigan to be the artistic director. It was a theater that I kind of worked at for 20 some years, as an actor and a director and stuff. And the artistic director that had been there for 30 years was retiring, and so they asked me if I would, and that was just as COVID was kind of hitting,
Mm.
and so I did that for about 4 years. I actually had Matt in quite a bit,
Okay.
to act and direct, um, and so I and that was when my dad was kind of up and down, right? And so I sort of left that, uh, back about 2.5 years ago, and was going to start getting back out there. And then my mom had some challenges, and so we're dealing with the tail end of that now. She's a lot better now,
Okay,
but
good.
so, so it's just like, you ride the way. Family is the most
Oh
important
yeah.
thing to me. So like like it was like either stay in New York and keep hitting your head against the pavement, and um And I had I'd been there for 18 years, so I was just kind of like, there's more to life than this. And I spent a year in Los Angeles, which I started to talk about earlier, and it was just such a completely different. I mean, the weather was much nicer,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you got a whole lot more for your money as far as your apartment and everything. But it was just, you know, you can be an actor 100 different ways, but you only have one family,
Hmm.
and uh, so and I don't regret the decision. I kind of just wait to see what God's got next for me. So
Yeah,
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
So do you kind of have an idea of what you're gonna do next, or has anybody
Um,
contacted you about something, or just kind of go back to Michigan and wait and see? And
well, I mean, part of the thing is I sort of tag team my mom's care with, it's just right now she's just kind of coming out of the worst of it, so
mm.
we still one of us still likes to be there. So like, and I've had to turn down John Adams 3 times
Oh
this year
wow.
prior to this, uh, because I was asked to do it. I say yes, I think so, and then mom would take a turn for the worse. So,
Mm.
and I don't mean to dog, I wouldn't be anywhere else, but like this, Matt and I talked a lot about like this was kind of, heaven ordained, this
Oh yeah.
production, because you know another actor was supposed to play
Hmm.
Adams, and I really wanted to do it this year for the 250th, and I had to turn down these other productions throughout I mean, like one was like in January, one was in April, one was, in the summer, earlier in the summer, and I just wasn't able to do them. And so mom was well enough that I was able to step away and do this
Mm.
stretch, and my brother is, covering her for the whole time, and then he's got a gig in Salem, Massachusetts, for the month of October, so I'll cover him for that time. So I'll go back to Michigan, go back to this sort of tag teaming, and start to kind of put my feelers back out there again. But like, I'm kind of committed to being in Michigan or close enough to be there for mom.
And it's very fitting that
Yeah.
you get to do it, in July
Yes.
as the fourth happens and do all the
Yes.
practice stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just I just so grateful, so grateful.
Yeah, my wife and I went to Michigan a few years ago, and like I say, it's a beautiful state.
It is a
I love
beautiful state.
Pennsylvania. I think
Yeah.
I've been West Virginia, like northern part of that. I think it's beautiful. But Michigan, and we went about in October, so like the fall of Michigan is just so
Oh,
gorgeous.
it is. It's
It's very
it's
crisp and like it's what you would expect a fall to be.
Midwest fall, yeah.
Hmm.
I'll tell you what, I went to graduate school in Boston though, and they have beautiful
Oh,
falls
I
too.
bet.
Yeah. So, but nothing beats Michigan.
My dad went to ENC in Boston and got kicked out
Oh,
his
okay.
grades, but I couldn't have, he from what I always hear that if you can drive in Boston, you can drive anywhere.
That's pretty much true.
So they're terrible drivers up
No,
there.
I stayed. I didn't even take my car to Boston.
I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being on, taking the
Yeah.
time after we just literally finished, a
Yes.
performance.
Come out and see us, man. We got three more.
Friday, Saturday, 7 o'clock, and Sunday, 2 o'clock.
Yep.
I'll have this out at least by Monday.
All
So
right, man.
I appreciate you coming on. Yeah.
Appreciate you having me on,
Yeah,
man.
no problem.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.